This was, I tell you, it was interesting.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what Newsom is doing here. I know there is. It took me 1 second to realize what this guy is doing. And he is trying to imply, and of course there's total plausible deniability on this by Gavin Newsom. But make no mistake about this. Newsom right here is trying to imply that the question, and maybe even the questioner, is anti-Semitic.
Yep. This is Van Lathan. The show Higher Learning is really good. People should check it out. I might be doing something with them in the coming months or so. So love Van over there. And this is good to have on the record at the very least.
It's interesting to have on the record.
That's a good
I'm not going to say anything more. It's just interesting.
And I included one extra question at the beginning because the shorter clip is going viral. But this is when he explicitly says that he would not block arms to Israel, and that's also relevant right now.
It's interesting right now.
It's interesting.
I guess the question is, if there's an admission or an understanding that the prime minister of a country is acting in a way that's either irresponsible, callous, or inhumane, why would we continue to support that country militarily?
I think that's the executive's role, to leverage that. We do that a lot. I mean, that's part of the game of leverage. But to eliminate support across the board is something, to me, is a bridge too far. Conditioning in a thoughtful way with a flexibility of criteria, flexibility with conditions that are changing on an hourly or daily basis or weekly basis as it relates to not just what's happening in Gaza,
on a 5-year basis,
but what's happening in Lebanon, what's happening in Iran, what's happening in Syria and other parts of the Middle East is where I think you have to be careful. And I just don't think there's a clean way of answering that without the nuance that I think it deserves.
Can you pause it? I'm sorry. And then we'll get to that, the interesting part. There was a reporting in the Washington Post over the weekend showing that the extent of which Israel's collaboration with the states that he's talking about, I mean, not all of the states he mentioned, but with other regional states, has been underreported. The idea that Israel is constantly under threat from these other countries in the region is a false narrative meant to elongate the genocide and the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people.
It's a pretty racist narrative, too.
It is. They're savages. They can't help it. They just hate us for 30,000 years. It's so intrinsic in them, they could never understand. No, it's actually the Zionism that displaced them and ruined people's lives, millions and millions of people's lives, that caused folks to not like Israel that much. But it's just really important to note that Israel has bombed 7 countries offensively this year, and Gavin Newsom is still trying to say that any continued aid for a country that has committed a genocide is defensive. They are acting as a rogue actor worldwide and in the region. The most responsible thing to do to rein them in, and they have weapons. They have it themselves. We don't need to provide it for them, would be to remove the diplomatic cover and the arms necessary that Israel needs to continue to act so belligerently.
AIPAC. I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC. And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC.
How do you pronounce it?
In years.
No, at first, at that point, when he says you're the first to bring up AIPAC, it almost sounds like it's sarcastic. Yeah. Like, because the idea that somebody who is just answered a question, a hypothetical question, if you will, or he claims it's a hypothetical question about being president. He's talking about being president. The idea that it's not part of the conversation for people who want to be president. It's part of the conversation for every single congressperson. Mm-hmm. There isn't a town hall that happens now where people don't ask that question. Janet Mills asked that question like at her first, I don't know, she went to some like festival or something up in Maine. I don't know what it was. But this question's being asked by everybody. Like, does Gavin Newsom think that this is being broadcast to like some, I don't know, distant planet? Are you kidding me? That's why I thought he was being sarcastic at first. But then,
What do I, a politician, have to do with the lobby that breaks records for spending in elections? Interesting.
AIPAC. I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC. And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting. Why did I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
Which is just interesting.
Listen.
It's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less.
Okay. Fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's interesting about it?
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of the day to day.
Yeah. The only reason why I ask is because with that, what I'm talking about.
They kind of move on to something different after that, and Newsom is quite good at being slippery, but good question there.
Or passive aggressive.
And passive aggressive, yeah.
what he's trying to imply there is that there is some anti-Semitism.
Some off about that question, Van.
Interesting.
It's interesting. I'm not going to say anything more about that. It's just interesting.
Interesting. What about Sudan?
Also, you're going to need to come up with some better answer. Like, anticipate that. Anticipate that question's coming. I know that he's like...
He did.
Well,
He hasn't heard about it in years.
He can't wait to run back to people
How
and
can
say,
he
like, look at how-
anticipate it when he hasn't heard a thought about AIPAC in years? Don't you understand? Gavin Newsom's been so busy with his own podcast and
Yep.
going on other podcasts that he doesn't have time to read the news, watch the news, listen to the news, follow politics.
Look at who's spending in elections.
No, he's not had time to meet with donors, not had time to get. Frankly, I'm surprised he knew all those countries to list out about that Israel's been involved in, because he's been in a total media blackout for months and months and months, maybe years.
Yep. I mean, feels like you should be across that if you're trying to run for president. It just feels like the guy who's the most thirsty presidential nominee at this point should probably have a better answer for that, because that will be the limit. AIPAC funding is going to be like baseline. Then we're going to be talking about, complete divestment, in the 2028 primary where he wants to be president so transparently. You're going to need a better answer than that.
I mean, to be fair, when Lathan had said, that Joe Biden wasn't the president anymore,
Yeah.
Newsom was like, what? I had no idea.
Right.
I hadn't been following any of this stuff. Thought it was Obama. Wait, what?
I'm going to get really gravelly. I never thought about AIPAC. What? AIPAC? I don't even know how you pronounce these.
What's her name? She broke up with Don Jr.?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it's also like...
Where's she ambassador now? What was her name? What was his Don Jr.'s girlfriend name that was also...
Kimberly Guilfoyle,
Kimberly.
his ex-wife.
She broke up with Don Jr.? I didn't know that.
Like, I mean, do they really have enough of an ideological difference if you're married, if Don Jr. and you are interested in the same women? I'm not saying that's always the case, but it also Newsom throwing trans kids under the bus, and talking to Charlie Kirk so positively. Not sure. I'm putting it mildly. He's the right man for the moment.
Newsom is the right man for a remake of American Psycho.
Well, that's the other thing is it's interesting thing. It's like what a gaslighter says in
He's implying it's anti-Semitism.
You've hurt my feelings, partner, because of X, Y, and Z. It's interesting you'd say that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of all the other people who would have a different reaction to what you're saying, but I'm just going to say it's interesting. I'm not going to get into it any more than that, but interesting. I'm where I am right now.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.